Part 3, people in the town of Davidson, and that includes my in-laws, family and friends, and acquaintances. I was just ending off the last video where I was talking about just transparency because this creep stalker guy lies and manipulates and gaslights. And in this time period, his advantage would to be to try and manipulate and gaslight other people. Because it sure isn't working on me. And that's why I'm making this post, mainly so people are aware of everything that I said previously in case this guy does A, B, C, and D. And I'm trying to think of other key things that you all specifically need to know that I already don't have on my page, which I do urge everybody to watch my videos, not all at once. Some of them are really long. Just come back periodically. It's good to learn and it's good to know, especially for younger people and women and teenagers, because I teach a lot about predators, narcissists, stalking, the signs that I ignored in the beginning, just a whole bunch of other stuff that I wish I knew years ago. Like not only 6 years ago, but when I was younger. And actually, let's just trace back a second to the youth and teenagers, because this guy catfished my son and he's also trying to gain access through him too. And I don't know if it's just solely because of me, probably, but if it's also to try and hurt him, who knows what. At this point, I just gotta expect anything. But I had to communicate with the school, who had to communicate with all the schools, and got teachers talking, and they had to let the parents know. I don't know much information that happened after I sent off the voice notes, but I know they took it very seriously. As soon as I said sex offender, they weren't fucking around. But that's not going to stop this guy from trying to catfish, copying, teenagers' accounts. And, teenagers are teenagers. They see a profile picture of their buddy from school. They're not going to question it. They're going to add them. And my son's trying to educate as many as his friends and acquaintances and, people around him about the situation and about online and how to be careful. But I also need to send a message to the parents who have teenagers and even young adults who are in university to definitely most be careful on dating apps, because this guy's purposely hacking anybody and everybody that he can. I found out a lot of stuff about this guy, and I believe he's behind a lot of dark stuff, which means he's gonna go to lengths to contain those secrets. And if he has to hack as many people as he can to prevent that information from getting out, to prevent me from making connections with certain people that know things, and those people from making connections with me, and then him, facing big consequences, he's gonna do anything he can, and I mean it when I say that. So, some good prey to be would be some youth that are unsuspecting, who are completely unaware. And that's also why I'm sending these videos as well. Not only do the adults and everybody else need to close up their lists on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, make sure you private your account. And if you're not friends with anybody on Facebook, your friend suggestions can be seen. If you don't change, if you don't edit the privacy on your posts, especially your profile pictures, they can be seen. So whoever's commenting on it, whoever's liking it, all of that can be seen. And that's how this guy stalked people around me when he was going through my friends list at the very beginning, especially the ones that don't have all their stuff open or anything like that. That's a good way to tell. If you really think about it, you can tell a lot by somebody's profile depending what they keep open. Who they're close with, who they're not close with, who they're friends with, their family. That's why I really urge everybody to close up as much as they can, because that's his advantage. That's the stalker's advantage, is seeing the friend suggestions and, seeing the friends lists. But there's a good chance, like I said, he's on a lot of people's friends lists, so the friend suggestions is kind of out of the way. And people's friends lists are still open, so, that's kind of if we can try and get people to close them now, that'd be better. But he's gonna target people who just aren't suspecting of it and who are ignorant. I don't mean ignorant in a bad way. It's just, teenagers and younger people, they're ignorant. I was ignorant at that age. And, if they're, don't have them be meeting anybody online. If they get a friend request from someone stating they're from this town, or they're from this school, they're from Saskatoon, or they're this so-and-so's friend, tell your children not to add those people, because that's what this guy is going to do. He's going to do that to other people too, especially the adults, but, to the kids as well. And if you don't want a registered sex offender on your kids' friends list, I would highly recommend you making sure to do that. And also, you should have them go through their friends list. Like, I preferably go through it with them. Ask them how they know this person, that person. Get rid of all the people that shouldn't be on there, unless you already monitor your kid's phone. And other than that, just for everybody else, you guys just need to be very cautious on who you add to your list. And when people get their accounts taken over and hacked, just try and remember you're not going to know. They're going to have this stalker's going to have all their information. People put tons of stuff on their phones. I don't think people really realize that, especially files, pictures, text messages. It's really easy if you really wanted to. Like, if you really wanted to, and that's what this guy does, and you had someone's information and you had to impersonate them by talking through Facebook Messenger, I don't think it's really that hard. It's just a lot of people aren't psychotic, and they don't do that. But this guy does, and that's why I'm here to warn everybody. And also, I know this is a pain in the ass, but I also do recommend everybody FaceTiming their contacts online. A good excuse to make that good old human connection. How I reunited with people, and it's how my relationships got stronger. Because COVID killed a lot of my social skills. And then that way you're for sure talking to, your family, your friend, whoever. Because this guy will hack anybody, and like I said, he pretended to be close people to me, and he'll do it to anybody. And speaking of hacking, if you know me and if you know who I'm talking about, the family, I don't want to say names or anything like that because this is public. And if if you're not sure and you live within the town, I'm pretty sure if you ask around, you'll know the family. Like, they'll tell you who it is. But in the time frame of, like, let's say 2021 and between 2025, have you or anyone and this can be anyone, and they don't even have to live in the town of Davidson, because this is very important and you need to listen carefully, especially people that you don't know. And this can be people that aren't even connected to the family, to the town, anything. It can be anybody that was on your Facebook list or Instagram or whatever, including yourself. Were you ever hacked and aware that your accounts were hacked and taken over, and there was nothing you could do about it because you didn't think you could? Or did your phone maybe black out or break, or maybe cracks went across the screen? You thought you broke it, so you went to a new device because it was pooched, and you tried to log back into your old account, but you weren't able to because you had to go back to your old device. So you just had to start new accounts and you lost your old account. And then, oh, shitty, that sucks. I couldn't get on my old account. Yeah, if that happened to you, and you live in that town, especially ties to the family, most likely this guy hacked you, because I explained in my hacking story that's what happened to you. There is malware and there's rootkits made to attack your phone and make you think that you broke it. And then the hacker takes over your accounts and you have zero clue because you have to go to a new device. And the genius thing to that hacking tactic is that it destroys your device, so you lose that bypass to get back into your accounts. And then you also don't get notified either. All you're told is that you need to go to your old device to log back in, which you can't because the phone is fried. So if any of that applies to you, you need to get a hold of me ASAP. I can give you a name and what he looks like, especially if your finances were messed with, or if you were blackmailed, or if you were threatened. Other than that, I think I covered everything that I specifically needed to tell you guys. If I think of anything else, I'll do a follow-up video. But other than that, just thanks for, listening to my story, taking the time, and, just considering it. Stay vigilant and stay aware.